Hello, Crystal Palace. Welcome to the Upper Norwood Library Hub's Library Live Lunch. This is a forum for sharing positive and inspirational stories about the local community, useful information, and a way of keeping us all connected. So my guest today is Margaret Adjaye, who is one of the directors of the Upper Norwood Library Hub, and she is here with news about an exciting new project. Margaret, thank you for joining me today. We've just won an Arts Council bid for a new project, which is really exciting. So tell us a bit about the project and the aims.
Okay, so first of all, thank you very much for having me on there. A little bit nervous, but who knows? I might do very well as we progress. So anyway, as Eleanor said, I'm one of the hub directors at the Upper Norwood Library Hub. The building is currently closed due to COVID-19, but we decided very early on, and just before we closed, that we'll try and engage, excite, and enthuse our community through our live streaming service, which I think you all subscribe to, and thank you for that. So we applied for funding from the Arts Council to sort of do something for the next 6 months to sustain and hopefully develop and grow the service, the live streaming, or I'll probably say the virtual service in the longer term. So the aim of the funding basically is to enable us to do exactly that. First part of that funding is to obviously talk to our community to understand the impact of COVID-19 on the community. But also focusing primarily on the arts and cultural provision. Many of you might know that the Arts Council England obviously supports creativity and the cultural excellence. So there's something about understanding how COVID-19 has impacted on that community. So the funding aims to sort of understand that, but also having understood that, work with artists who want to sort of who've got very exciting content and want to actually come on our platform, our live streaming platform, and showcase that wonderful content, to work with them, support them with a bit of funding and support to actually do exactly that. And I think for us, it's about capturing the rich diversity of artists that are on our doorstep, that are in our community. So we want to reach out to as many as possible to come on board. And there's another aspect, which is about digital inclusion, because there are people who are isolated and lonely. And particularly with COVID-19, there is a lot of that happening. People are, housebound, people are stuck at home. And so there's something about trying to sort of reach the most isolated, the most vulnerable, the lonely and unemployed through this project, and particularly through our digital inclusion service, which is also being done virtually. So that's basically the thrust or the aim of this project.
Amazing. And so can we talk about it in a bit more detail? So I think there's 4 strands, aren't there?
Yeah,
which you've just touched on. So do you want to tell us about them in more detail?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I like to say before I get into the detail is to thank the Arts Council for this. I think that they've been phenomenal. They've supported us a lot in the past, and we appreciate them. We appreciate the investment and the contribution that they've made to the Upper Norwood Library Hub over the last 3-4 years. Similarly, the National Lottery as well and its players. So we'd like to say thank you to them. So in terms of the different parts of the project, the first part is the research bit. So Eleanor's actually going to be involved in that bit. So the research bit is, as I said earlier on, we want to sort of capture the voices. We want to sort of capture some learning and insights from our community, but particularly the artists in our community, about the impact of COVID-19 on them. So you guys would have lots of lovely stories to tell us about how it's affected your lives. They may be good, they may be bad, and we want to capture them. So we're going to conduct some research, and I said Eleanor will be leading on that. So this has just started. So Eleanor's working with another colleague, Norman, and also Rin, who a lot of you might know, to sort of start getting emails, getting details, contact information of people who would be happy to get involved in the research. So they'll be reaching out to you, and I'd like to make a special appeal to our community to actually support it, so we can capture as many voices, so we can understand what's happened to people in our community. So that's the first part, and linked to that as well is a bit about capturing the voices of people. I mean, we've got the Library of People. I understand this live streaming service is the Library of People, isn't it?
It's part of it, certainly.
It's part of it, yeah. So we've got the Library of People, and now we're sort of launching into something called the Library of Voices. And the Library of Voices is very much about hearing some wonderful stories. As I said, it could be good or bad, it could be whatever. 2 to 3 minute conversations with yourselves about how this whole sort of like pandemic has affected our lives. And we will need your permission to be able to capture those stories. And we would like to sort of store them possibly on an MP3 as an example, or as, what do you call it? My colleague Norman said, what did he say? Time capsule of some sort, isn't it?
Yeah, an audio time capsule, I think,
An
was the
audio
phrase
time
that came out of
capsule.
our meeting. Yeah.
That's right, yeah. So we would like to capture your voices about, and you know, Norman and Eleanor would have a series of questions that they'll ask you. So we can tease out from you how it's affected you. But also it could be that during COVID-19, you were doing some phenomenal things, some exciting things. You might have gone somewhere at home, or you might have done something at home, or been involved in something exciting. We want to hear it. And I always say that in 5, 10, 15 years' time, when you come to the library and you sort of come and listen to the MP3 or you download the stories and you reflect about what you did that, you know, during COVID-19, during that difficult, challenging time, you'll have some stories to share with your children, your grandchildren, who knows, your friends and your family. So we want to sort of start building what we call the Library of Voices, the archive of voices, a storytelling platform in our community. But I think that there's also something very interesting about capturing those voices, is that because we do quite a lot of arts and cultural based stuff in our library hub, it's closed at the moment. But, you know, those voices, those stories, those exciting things you sort of share with us could feed into a live performance of some sorts in the future in the library building when we are up and running. So it could be a theatrical piece, a musical piece, for example. It could form part of an exhibition, who knows? I think the research and the capturing of exciting voices gives us a platform, as I said, to build that archive, but also in the future, maybe use that to develop some theatrical and artistic pieces in our library space. So that's the first part of it. So can I please encourage as many of you, particularly the artists amongst you, and as I said, I am very, very keen for us to capture diverse voices from all backgrounds, all ages, from those who are well-honed, well-developed artists or cultural experts, to those who are starting the journey but need a platform where they can actually start showcasing what it is that they do and how well they do it, and need an opportunity to do that. And we say, we are giving you the space on a live streaming service to do that. Working with us to co-create the content, perhaps, but also bringing the content as it is. We would help you by looking at it, reviewing it, and making sure that it's appropriate, it's suitable, and it can be live streamed. So that's the first part. The second part is that, as I said earlier on, we do quite a lot on digital inclusion. And currently it's delivered virtually in partnership with Clear Community Web. And some of you might know our wonderful Casper Kennedal. Casper has actually been doing it in the library space, but again, due to COVID-19, we've moved it online. So Casper has been working with a lot of seniors, vulnerable adults, and their carers, but also people who feel they need some digital inclusion skills in order to secure jobs going forward. And so part of that funding is trying to grow the service. So we want to recruit 2 volunteers who Casper would train to, you know, it's about capacity building basically, so they can support the expansion and development of the service. So again, an appeal, if there are some computer savvy lot amongst you, or aspiring computer savvy people, we will want to sort of work with you. So again, contact us, and then, you know, training will be provided and you can support us in actually building that side of things. The third arm of it is that we've got some of that funding can be used for capital investment. Obviously, we need to sort of produce high quality, and I mean high quality live streaming service. So some of that funding would actually go into buying equipment to support that process. So that, you know, when artists come on board, artists want to actually do something through us, with us on our live streaming channel, we can produce high quality stuff. The final stage of the funding is the bit about the artists, and I think I've talked a little bit about it. So it's a special appeal. I'm using this as a platform to appeal to the artists in our local community who are very, very keen, I mean, performance artists, that is. And as I said, have got something exciting that they would like to sort of live stream or like to sort of do with, you know, do in partnership with us, to contact us, because some of that funding would support that process as well. And so there's a bit of an investment that we can make there. And I think that even though it's for 6 months, who knows? I have a vision that somewhere along the line, people would love it so much that they would want to support it on an ongoing basis. So it's about how can we, as a community space that is absolutely passionate about our community and you know, really committed to making sure that the artists in our community benefit hugely from the service that we provide, and vice versa, that you sort of come forward, come to us. let's work together to sort of build high quality content for our live streaming service.
Amazing. I think for me, one of the things that's so amazing about this is that there's a couple of themes that have been running through the live lunch, and one is actually, despite the difficult situation, just how much innovation and positivity has been going on in spite of, because of the situation. And also that so many artists I know have had to suddenly put the entirety of their work online, myself included, and actually that everybody's learning how to do that. And so the idea of having something that supports people who are doing that anyway because they have to is amazing.
Yeah. Right. That's exactly what we're bid for, and lucky enough to have actually secured the funding to do it. I mean, one of the things that we were thinking about was, you know, we've done Attic Arts and the building. So what about an Attic Arts weekender? What about a wonderful musical event? What about a great theatrical piece? What about a children's act of sort? You know, there are so many things we could do potentially. And I think that, you know, amongst us are people who can do that. But also I'm very, very keen that artists who are, you know, feel excluded, disadvantaged, discouraged, could also sort of come forward so we can actually work with you. So there might be people who have not had the chance to start up at all, but it could be that this is the opportunity for them to sort of come forward and do something. And so, you know, if you have got an innovative act or innovative piece or content, and you think that this is something that could, you know, could actually be useful for us, for you, for the community, just contact us basically.
And also, I think following on from that, if you know somebody who fits into that category but maybe might not be easily contactable, so isn't necessarily on social media, or for some other reason might not want to put themselves forward, we would love to hear from you to recommend people as well and help us find, I think, Margaret, the term you used was hidden voices. So
Absolutely.
help us find the people who might not put themselves forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, I'm glad you reminded me. I keep using the word hidden voices, and for once I didn't use it. So it's the hidden voices. And that's part of the storytelling process, because I think that there are lots of people who are not able to say what is going on with them. They are the hidden voices. There's a lot of artists who, again, not able to actually get that opportunity to sort of showcase and demonstrate what they're capable of. They are the hidden voices. It's these seniors at home who can't actually voice what is happening to them. They are the hidden voices. And they are the people that I think we want to reach. So we can capture the exciting voices, but portray them in whatever way we can through, you know, artistically, whatever, on our platform. And I think it helps us as well, because we then build wonderful, high quality content that enthuses, excites, informs, inspires our community on a regular basis.
And also that directly comes from it, right?
Absolutely.
And if I can just add one thing that occurred to me when you were speaking, I think stories, as you said, stories are what we're looking for. And I imagine that people might not think that their own lives are interesting necessarily, but actually we're interested. We're interested in the tiny everyday things. How have the tiny everyday things been affected? Not just necessarily the big innovative things, although that's amazing, but just, I think, the tiny life details that have massively changed as well. How things have changed for you, how that's affected you, how that makes you feel. Absolutely. We're interested in those things.
I mean, I was talking to someone recently who said that during the lockdown, I think her son has used that as a basis to sort of like develop his art form, which I thought was really interesting. So, you know, there's this young man thinking about his creativity, you know, digging very deep to sort of inspire himself and motivate himself. And how is he going to use that? I don't know. But maybe that's someone that we could actually support, because that's a young man who's actually building his own expertise and skills and learning and whatever. And so again, there might be people like that out there. But I'd like to say that the money there isn't a huge pot of money, and it's just not going to be there forever. And we can only support, 10, 15 people at most. But I think that for me, it's the beginnings of something. And once we actually start developing that high quality content online, and indeed within the library space when we open, I think that, it brings people to the fore. And who knows, somebody might see it and say, I like this, I'm going to support it. There you go.
Where would you like to see it going then? If this is the start of something.
Oh, I mean, for those of you who know the library space, I imagine you've got the cafe, then you've got that seating area, and then the library of things. I'd like to create a little corner next to the library of things area, or in the cafe area, called the Library of Voices or Archive of Voices. I mean, the project title is All Alone Together. Yeah, and so and I chose that because we are alone in our homes, but I think through this project we can actually all come together in a way. And it's just remembering that even though you might feel alone, people like us, people next to you, your neighbors, your family, your friends, they're there. If you don't have them, we are there for you, basically. So I think that I want to be able to create a little space in the library area where you can come and sit there quietly and just, download or listen to the stories being told by people. So yeah, that's what I'd like to do. And as I said, it's the beginnings of it. So we can capture some exciting voices now, and in future, people can walk into the building or email or contact us and say, look, I have a story to share. And then we'll take, with your permission, we can add that story to our library of voices. But I think the key thing for me, and I'll repeat myself again, is that I would love to see these stories turned into theatrical pieces or drama pieces or musical pieces in the library space, so people can come and watch it. And who knows, the people who contributed may one day be part of that process. So it could be an interactive theatrical piece where you get a lot of people telling their stories on stage for others to enjoy.
I love that idea. I think one of the things that you said that sort of links to this for me was about the audio time capsule. So when we were discussing it the other day, that the idea was that even some decades forward, people would be able, like when I don't know, I think when it was going around when I was growing up, the idea of the time capsule. So you bury some things in your garden that in 10 years, 20 years, whatever, you could dig it up and actually see what was in vogue, what people were into at the time and stuff.
Absolutely.
And I think this idea of having an audio capture of how we're all feeling, how we're coping, how we're surviving in this situation, that we can look back on and remember, because your memories are never, they're always a little selective, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it'll be really interesting to listen back and see, just
hidden
remember
gems.
the detail.
Hidden gems. And I always say your grandchildren, your children, you can come and sit in the library space with them and say, this is what happened to us then. It's a bit of history being formed here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess the important things really are that this is very exciting. It's starting now. And we want to hear from people.
So we want to hear from as many people as possible. So I think for me, as I said, the research is critical for us. So if you would like to contribute to the research, if you'd like your voice to be heard, if you'd like to complete a survey, if you'd like to take part as an artist in this project, I would love you to email us at info@unlt.org. That's info@unlt.org. And, we will get in touch with you straight away. Ellen is very, very keen to talk to a lot of people. I'm very keen to sort of get people to complete. I mean, for those of you who do not want to sort of contribute your voice to the library of voices, or do not want to sort of feel shy, we'll have a survey option. So it's just 2 or 3 questions that we would like you to answer. And can I also say that hopefully the information that we pull together could actually identify very specific themes or service themes that we could probably implement going forward. It may be that the theme of isolation stands out quite strongly in the stories you tell us. It could be a theme of, creating space for artists to come and develop and grow. It could be a theme of, I don't know, doing more stuff with children. I don't know. But I'm hoping that all that research, that rich intelligence will capture, could also help us to identify very specific themes that hopefully we can actually do something with in the library space, but also online.
And actually, the more people we talk to, so the more of you guys who come forward and add your voices to this, the more chance there is that we find the unexpected themes and the unexpected gaps in what we're already doing. And the more chance there is that we can find solutions and fill those gaps.
Yeah, absolutely. So research, 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 stories, stories, stories. MP3 is what I say. So please do come forward and do email us. And once the very short survey is ready, it'll be available on our website. We'll try and promote it through social media as well. So as I said, for those who do not want to sort of like contribute their voices, just complete the survey, submit it to us, and we will use that to capture your insights and intelligence, which, as I said, would help us going forward. Similarly, if you are happy to have your voice recorded, Eleanor is your lady. So again, email us and say, yeah, I'm happy to have my stories captured, and we'll seek your permission, obviously, before we do anything as well. And similarly, if you're an artist who is ready, has got some fantastic content, or an artist who thinks, I'm nearly there, I probably want to sort of like do something and get some feedback, on artists who feel I've not had that opportunity at all. And, I think this is a great opportunity for me to come and do something wonderful. Contact us. And as I said, we will work with you to sort of make sure that we've got the right content. And who knows, I'm hoping that it'll be the launch pad for a lot of you.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And the key thing is diversity as well for me. It's about making sure that diverse artists are represented in the project.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think just following on from that, there are actually a few spaces in our live stream program at the moment. So following on from what Margaret was just saying about if you've got some content that's kind of pretty much ready to go or you want a bit of feedback, we do have some slots to fill. So please give us a shout and tell us you've got something that you'd like to try live streaming, and we have spaces available for you to try getting your content out there. So yeah, we'd love to hear from you in any form. I think. Margaret, is there anything else to say about this project at the present time?
No, I mean, for me, it's about making sure that the community are staying safe, they're healthy, they're looking after themselves. I mean, I'm normally in the building, not all the time, but because it's closed, I can't see most of you. Smile with you, chat with you. And so, I am missing the community. I am missing people a lot. And I just hope that they're all keeping well and safe, basically.
And actually, just following on from that, we should probably say that I am thoroughly expecting to do most of my interviews by Zoom or telephone, although in certain circumstances, socially distanced in-person interview might be an option, but I'm thoroughly expecting to do most of them by Zoom or telephone, for exactly that reason, to just make sure we're all staying safe. I am also missing the community and the community feel.
I am missing it terribly, terribly. But yeah, I think my biggest concern is just making sure that everybody's okay, and that we'll see each other soon and smile and talk and have coffee.
And in the meantime, the live stream program is absolutely there to try and help us all stay connected. So, we have things like the live lunch is to hopefully allow you to find out a bit more in depth about something in the community. So I'm always looking for guests for this as well. And again, it doesn't have to be anything amazing or unusual. We want to hear from you guys about what you're doing at the moment. So how have you changed your business to cope with the current situation? Have you ended up doing something completely different? And actually there's an awful lot of overlap between the live lunch and between the new project. So please do give us a shout for that as well. Basically get in touch with us. We want to hear from you.
Absolutely.
And in the meantime, please do check out the rest of the live stream programme if you haven't already. We have obviously the live lunch every weekday with different guests from the community. We have yoga, meditation, mindfulness. We have children's stories. We have Covers Cafe live music on Fridays. Edible Garden with Tanya. We've got one more session of that, I think. Cross Stitch with Alice and all sorts of other things. So please do check it out. We really want to stay connected with you in the best way we can. And if there's anything that we haven't got yet that you would like, please do get in touch and let us know. We'll see what we can do. So in the meantime, Margaret, thank you so much for coming to have a chat with us. It's great to hear.
My nervousness is gone now.
Hurrah! That's because we're finishing.
We're finishing. Absolutely.
But now I know that I can get you to do it again. So
oh,
that's a good step forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for agreeing to do it.
You.
So stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow when I have Antonio from Capsule. Under normal circumstances, he is one of the market stall holders in the Crystal Palace Food Market in Haynes Lane, and he is a lovely Italian guy who sells amazing cheese, and he's going to come and tell me about what he's been doing during lockdown. So stay safe, everybody, take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.